Take two, Scott Brown, Elizabeth Warren going head-to-head once again in the race for U.S. Senate. Good evening, I'm Mark Ockerman.
Hi, everybody. I'm Maria Stefanos. Yes, another debate tonight. From politics to Bobby Valentine, they covered it all, including some very interesting moments. Our political reporter, Sharman Saketi, was right there for the whole thing. What do you think, Sharman?
Maria, this was a pretty feisty debate. Both candidates really gave strong performances and withstood some pretty tough questioning. I have to say, Scott Brown really kept Elizabeth Warren on the defensive for most of the night and definitely delivered more than his share of zingers. We can tell you that. One of those happened when Warren explained that Brown had not done much in terms of taking votes to help the economy or the unemployed. Listen to this.
And Senator Brown voted in lockstep with all of the other Republicans. And just to put icing on the cake, he voted against unemployment insurance extensions 16 times for people who were out of work. Senator Brown has made clear where he stands.
She's obviously misstating the facts. These were rejection by both Democrats and Republicans, Professor. It wasn't if you're going to comment on my record, I would at least have you refer to it. Excuse me. Excuse me. We're not. Go ahead, excuse me. I'm not a student in your classroom. Please let me respond. Okay. Thank you.
Well, he certainly did well there. Warren did have to handle a lot of questions about her heritage, whether or not she considers herself a minority. Brown also did put her on the defensive when talking about large corporations and whether or not and who she had as legal clients. Now, just before this debate started, Warren released a list of her legal clients while at Harvard, which was something that Brown had been calling on her to do for a few weeks. Where did Brown possibly step in it? Well, when he was asked when both candidates were asked who their model Supreme Court justices were, and Brown picked arguably the most conservative justice on the Supreme Court. Listen to this.
Let me see here. That's a great question. I think Justice Scalia is a very good judge. Justice Kennedy. Justice Kennedy is obviously very good, and Justice Roberts, Justice Sotomayor, I think they're very qualified people there who actually do a very good job.
Scalia and Sotomayor don't exactly.
Well, you know what? That's the beauty of being an independent, David.
Okay.
You can actually.
If you had to pick one,
Listen, I don't need to pick one. We have plenty of justices up there, and I'm proud of the ones we have.
Ms. Warren, who would be your model Supreme Court justice?
Well, I think it would probably be Elena Kagan.
And so she, of course, was the dean of Harvard Law when Elizabeth Warren was working, of course, at Harvard. That is not something that Scott Brown wanted in his corner necessarily, that Justice Scalia, if he's trying to woo Democrats and independents. But Brown himself is touting himself as an independent, and that was one more thing he did tonight. Maria?
And Sharman, let's talk about some of the lighter moments throughout this debate as well.
Well, there were a couple lighter questions there at the end, whether or not the candidates believed Bobby Valentine ought to be fired. Elizabeth Warren said, give him one more year. Brown really was non-committal on the issue. There was a moment where both candidates were asked, hey, what do you like about the other person? And Warren said she agreed with Brown with his vote on Don't Ask, Don't Tell, and said he had a nice family. And Brown said, well, I think she's a pretty good professor, and I'm doing my best to keep it that way.